Hello friends, so today we are going to study about ray optics. Before we do that, let's see the basic definition of light. What is light? Light is a form of energy that gives us sense of vision through our eyes. Light is a form of energy that we know from basic knowledge of energy. We must have heard about light as an example of energy, and it gives us sensation of vision when it enters our eyes. Obviously, we can't see objects through our ears or nose. Obviously, light when enters our eyes, we are able to see things. Also, we need to know some basic properties of light. For example, light travels in a straight line. So, when we have an object and light from that object enters in our eyes, we are able to see the object. But if we keep something, for example a brick, in between the object and our eyes, we are not able to see the object. Why? Because the light can't travel through the brick, and neither it can bend and enter our eyes, because light travels in a straight line, so it can't bend and enter our eye, so we are not able to see the object. Also, light travels at a very high speed of around 3 lakh kilometers per second. It's the fastest known speed in this world. Nothing is known to have a speed greater than light. So next, now we see the types of objects on the basis of the way they interact with light. So we have three types of objects: transparent, translucent, and opaque. So to study how they interact, it's important to discuss the different types of interaction. So basically, when an object interacts with light, four types of phenomena can occur. First is the absorption. Light, being an energy, may get absorbed by the object. Second, it may get reflected. What is being reflected? When light strikes an object, it may get reflected. It may bounce back, or it may get refracted. That is diffraction. When object strikes when light strikes an object, it may get passed through with maybe change of direction or whatever. We will see. Refraction is basically when light passes through an object with some deviation in direction. And as I said, there are four phenomena. So there is one more called diffraction. So what is diffraction? At this point of time, we don't need to study much about it. Diffraction has something to do with bending of light, which is not as per this straight line property. I mean, light traveling in a straight line. Around a corner, light rays are observed to bend. But at this point of time, you don't need to know much about this because that is not needed at this point of time. So let's see how these three types of objects interact with light and what are the phenomena that they exhibit. So see, transparent object. So a transparent object, as we all know, that for example we have a glass that allows through which you can see. So what happens is the light is able to pass through it. It allows light to completely pass through it. So it neither absorbs. A true completely transparent, an ideal transparent object, it allows the light to pass through it completely. So there is no absorption, there is no reflection, and there is refraction, because as we know, it has to do something when light passes through an object. So then there we see a refraction. And translucent objects. Translucent objects, for example, you may have seen uh, dirty water or tracing paper, through which you can see a little bit of light. I mean, you can get the feeling that there is light source on the other side, but you don't exactly you can't clearly see things through that object. So that is called translucent. So when a light strikes the object, it may absorb some light, it may reflect some light, and it also allows some amount of light energy to pass through it. That's why you can see little bit of light coming through it. I mean, you get a sense, for example, when you have a tracing paper and you see through it, you may be able to see if there is some light source on the other side. Or when you keep it on some image or other diagrams, you can see the diagram, but it's not as clearly as you can see if the tracing paper is removed. So it absorbs light, deflects light, as well as refracts light, but nothing is entirely. Little bit absorbed, little bit reflected, little bit reflected. And when in opaque objects, it's something that do not allow any amount of light to pass through it, the ideal opaque object. So there is no possibility of refraction, because as I said, refraction has to do something with light passing through the object. So it can either absorb light or it can reflect light. So it can absorb little bit of light and it can also reflect light. So when you have your eyes on the other side of the object and light is coming from the other side, you are not able to see it because the light is either absorbed or reflected. In next video, we will see the different phenomena in detail. So until then, have a good day.